We can make the grade of L-asparaginase, the purity, which is required to administer very large doses. Also, we can make it in sufficient quantity to treat a limited number of patients at a time, but we can always use some more asparaginase.
Do you have enough now, you feel, to support clinical research?
Here again, to an extent, we do. We can get some very valuable data by using large doses of the pure material in a small number of patients, but to do a large series, we don't.
We're proposing a United Methodist voluntary service in which we'll invite young people, members of our churches, from all parts of the country and all races, to volunteer themselves as parts of task forces to be used wherever they're needed in this crisis. This would be done on a subsistence basis. We believe there are a number of young people who, for longer or shorter periods, would be willing and ready to volunteer for such work.
What activities would these people undertake?
We would say mostly in the field of human relations. We would hope that the people in the ghetto conditions themselves would indicate the kind of help they would feel would be most needed, and this would vary from city to city, so that that the program isn't being handed down from above, but it would be the one asked for by the people who are in these situations.
There'll be 4 ballot boxes, small ones like the ones inside this box, at every polling place for tomorrow's runoff election for one place on the Dallas School Board. This election will give many Dallas voters a chance for the first time in nearly 20 years to use paper ballots. There will only be 2 names on the ballots, however, incumbent board member James E. Joy and his opponent, Dr. Sam R. Ferris, so the voting shouldn't be too complicated. You simply mark an X next to the name of the candidate of your choice. In addition, Dallas Schools business manager H.D. Pearson says that his office intends to count every valid ballot that has any reasonable indication of the voter's choice. The voter's choice between the 2 candidates should also be clear-cut. Incumbent James Joy is supported by the Committee for Good Schools and has conducted a rather low-key campaign all the way through, even to his recent refusal to debate his opponent on primetime television. Ferris, the vote leader in the first election and supported by the League for Educational Advancement in Dallas, has campaigned actively. His 2 lead running mates won outright in the initial election. His victory would put the lead people in the majority on the board for the first time. Teal Salon reporting.
Well, I think a great deal of progress has been made, really. For one thing, there has been the very fine work of the Sloan Kettering Institute, in which they have reported, and will report at this meeting, I suppose, even more work on a rather large number of cases that have been tried on this new agent with good results. And they have greatly amplified the number of cases. And this is always important to get some idea of how many will respond and so forth.
This is a very major symposium on L. asparaginase. What results do you expect to get from it?
Well, it's always very important to get the leading workers together as we have here. I think that it has been obvious for some time that one of the stumbling blocks, one of the major problems, was to produce material pure enough and in sufficient quantity.